Hello everyone! Welcome to this first Just Artin Around video during quarantine. I have two lovely helpers here. I have my mom and then our kitty cat Louise. She might be a little squawky during the video, but don't mind her. So, if you don't know me, my name is Connor. I work with the Plymouth Public Library, and we are sending out a whole bunch of art videos to try to help keep you occupied during this time. We also have several artsy baby programs and educational programs that you can tune into. Videos will be posted weekly, all different content. My mom's name is Rusty.
Hi.
She is always at my Just Artin Around classes, and if she's not present at the time, we tend to do a project at home or paint together, and you can see our paintings behind us, some of them that we've done. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to make this Easter wreath. And we were originally going to do this at the library, but due to the quarantine, we are going to teach you how to make it at home. So a little secret, I have not told my mom how to do this project yet. So this is going to be the first time explaining it through. It's super simple. You can do it at home with any age. The only supplies you need are paper plates, coffee filters, water. You can also have paints if you want, and then we're just going to use markers today because I think that's a lot more easy to get at home instead of using these watercolors. This is what we're going to use in the class. It's also used in Artsy Baby sometimes. It's basically just pre-mixed watercolor. So if you happen to have that, you can use that. But like I said, we're just going to stick with markers. It's less messy and super easy to do. And then you also need scissors and tape, but we'll use that more towards the end here. So I think we're just going to jump in and get started. All right, okay, so the first thing you'll want to do is get your coffee filters and have one of your plates here. So then what you're going to do is pick out the colors that you want. So I have here, I picked some other Easter colors. We already have one that's pink and blues and purples, so I'm going to do reds, oranges, and yellows. What colors did you pick? Oh. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to be a little bit like a maniac. You're going to color all over your coffee filter where you want those colors present. So it won't look like watercolor at first. It'll just kind of look like a scribbled mess. So I'll kind of do it up here so you can. And then I'm kind of just layering in and adding some other random colors here to see how this is going to turn out. Okay, so once you get your colors how you like them, it's going to look like a scribble mess, just like I said. So that's why this is good for kids. So the next step you're going to want to do, you'll have kind of a big paintbrush here, or you can just have like water and put it on with your hands if you want it more interactive. But you'll just start kind of dipping the water on there and like painting it onto your coffee filter. Okay. So while she's working on hers still, I'm going to go ahead and show you this here. So this is what a completed version of that is going to look like. So it's going to blend together in a nice, pretty watercolor fashion. And if you want it to be more intricate, you can use like these watercolors or the palette ones to kind of do your own little design there. Okay, so you'll want to keep blending until you see those lines kind of fade away. And then you'll eventually get like a watercolor looking one. And you can tell there's still some marker lines in here, but you just kind of keep painting and going over. And if there's a spot that you really can't get, you can always add a little bit more marker to it. Oh, yeah, you can
I forgot my color, so I'm just gonna. Mine's really wet.
Yeah, so they will be really damp because the water on it is going to seep through the coffee filter. And then what I do is I just kind of grab it by the edge and peel it up off my plate. So you can see that it looks really translucent right now. And there's a lot of color on there that'll appear more when it dries. So it's going to look kind of pastel-like. So then what I like to do is kind of just have a little spot where we can lay them out so they can dry. And then that's where you go on and you continue making your next one. And for this wreath, I think that we use maybe about 10 to 20 coffee filters. The more you add, the more bunched together it will look. So like the bottom here, you can see there's more. And then the top, there is just a couple here, so you can see it's a little bit more space. And what I did was I waited until they were almost dry, and then I started putting them in here. So, let's see here. And you can even do, if you have like a lot of excess water that's forming on your plate, you can take another coffee filter and kind of put that there and then make it damp so it soaks up that extra liquid. And I just keep using the same plate because I use the same colors. But if you want to do a whole bunch of different colors in your wreaths, you can use whatever ones you like and maybe just have a couple extra plates sitting around here. So once you have 10, 20, however many of these that you want to make, you're gonna move on to your next step. And I reuse the plate that I have been using to dye or color, or whatever you want to call it, the colors for this wreath here. So then you're gonna take and you will cut a circle out of the plate. So I just folded it in half and cut a little circle here. And then you get to the fun part. So you can start putting these in, and it's super simple. You just take and you cut little lines in here. Like so. I don't know if you can really see that too well. You cut little lines here. And then you'll take the ones that you've already done, and you'll sort of do like a flower kind of looking thing. And then you'll just take the edge you pinched and kind of just put it right through this little cut that you made. Ooh, that one's pretty. Okay. So I just put it through this little slash here and kind of bent it to the side. And then it's going to stick out. It's going to look kind of funny because you don't have the rest in. But to keep this secure, what I did for this one is I just took little pieces of tape and taped over this here. And then at the end, I took another plate and I cut it and put it over. What we're using now is we have what we call like a paint towel. It's just an old bath towel that we don't use anymore. So we put this down to protect our table and make sure that none of the watercolors got everywhere. So if you are using this kind of watercolor, definitely make sure you have something laid down. It's extremely watery, and if you get a lot of it, it can definitely stain your hands. If I've checked you out at the library while attempting this project before, you probably see my hands covered in paint. And same thing if you're working with your kids on this project. If you want more interactive, like I said, you can dip your hands in the water and put it on the coffee filters to get that there. All right, we are back, and we have all of our little Easter circles ready to go. So, in order to start this step, the first thing that you're going to do, I'll let you have the scissors so you can cut yours. What I do is fold the plate here, and then you can kind of see like the second ring where it goes around. And these are still really damp, so it makes it easier to go ahead through and cut them and then fold it back out, and it won't leave creases. Yep, so you just go around a little half circle inside there. So then you'll have just like your little ring, and it'll already kind of have a stained background, so if any peeks through, it kind of blends in with your project. So the next thing that we do, so I just went ahead and I folded a little area like this, and I cut a little sliver, so that way we can kind of cram this piece in here. Yep. And it doesn't matter if you go horizontally or vertically with this line, because you won't see it. And I'll use this one to demonstrate here, so you can use this one. There we go. So then to kind of get it to go through that little portion that we put, you take the coffee filter and you kind of grab it like right in the middle here. And then you kind of pinch, so it almost turns into kind of like a flower look. And then you kind of just pinch in as much as you want here. And then I kind of just twirl it together so it kind of all gets stuck. So you have kind of like this, like almost you're taking a tissue and kind of getting ready to cram it up your nose. You do that with this here. So you get it like that, and then what you'll do is you'll find the little sliver that you have cut in here. And then it kind of works if you bend it and slide it through. And if it's a little bit too small, you might have to make it bigger, but it should work either way. So once you kind of, did you get through here on the side? Yep. So once you get it in like that, what I like to do is kind of push it to one side or the other, and then I take a little piece of tape and put it over that to kind of hold it in there. That way it doesn't get pulled out or something if the wreath gets tugged on wherever it's at. Yep. And then what we do is you just keep repeating that process, cutting the little slits where you want to put your little coffee filters. And I might have mentioned this already, but make sure when you put them in that they're still a little bit damp, so that way when they dry in the way that you want them to. So this one here, you can see on the top, these ones dried sticking out a little bit more, and they're a little bit more spaced apart, so it gives it kind of a different look. Whereas down here, they were more closer together, so it gives it a more tightly packed look. So it looks a little bit lopsided because this was the prototype one, but when you do your own, you kind of have a choice with where you want to place them. Alright, so now that she has that part done, there is still the back that we got to put on here. So I'll go ahead and give this to you. And then you just cut out a circle like we did before. And then you just tape it on the back here, and that'll cover up all your little spots where you taped in your coffee filters.
That might be hard for little kids to do.
Yeah, yep. There will be some parental supervision needed. Yep, so then what I did was I kind of just taped around the edges a little bit just to get it to hold on there. And if you want it to match up perfectly, you can kind of hold it up and cut around the inside of the wreath. Either way, if you just kind of want to hide that background there. You could even, if you wanted to, do a double side. So you could make a whole nother wreath. So you'd have two, and then you could just stick them together. So if you want to put it on like a door or something, you might have to fold the plate the other way. But if people can see through, that way it has it on the double sides there. Okay, so this has been a simple video on how to make your Easter wreath. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you, and stay safe.